And hello yet again in Na'ala land as we begin Mirsha Parshat Tetzaveh. Today's shir is Leila Nishmas Rochalea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi Aleha Shalom. I can't promise you a great story today because our Parsha is not given over to story. However, our mission is to try and learn something from the Parsha, which will be, I'm not here to tell you Divrei Torah. You have wonderful teachers who go in the depth and the breadth and the intricacies. That's not what I'm trying to teach you. You know Torah is wise, but we're trying to teach you things and just on the most elementary level. I didn't go to always the right schools, and I definitely skipped the grades where we learned all the Big Day Kahuna and Klei Mishkan. So, thanks to Naleh, I've also learned a lot, and I just hope that we'll be going through a few of the Begadim of the Kohen, which may be unfamiliar to us, and we'll have a greater understanding now of how they actually operated. We'll be doing a few of them today. Let's start with our synopsis of the Parsha, Parshat Tetzaveh. We begin by thanking all the Naleh staff, and of course, Libby Bamser, who runs this studio with such expertise. Aaron and his sons Nadav, Avihu, Elazar, and Isamar were chosen by God to serve as Kohanim. One of their tasks was to keep the lamps of the menorah burning continuously in the sanctuary. The oil for the lamps was provided by the members of the general community. While officiating in the sanctuary, the Kohanim were to wear special garments. Aaron, as the Kohen Gadol, he's the high priest, was to be robed in especially distinctive vestments made by skilled craftsmen. We'll learn about this very soon, Mirz Hashem. The investiture of Aaron and his sons was confirmed by a number of symbolic acts. Aaron was presented with his robes by Moshe and was anointed with oil. As the other Kohanim, as we shall learn, they're only anointed once, and that'll go then, they become sanctified as Kohanim, and from then on, every single day and their children will always be proper Kohanim. They don't have to be anointed ever again. But each Kohen Gadol must be anointed afresh. This was followed by the investiture of the other Kohanim. And various sacrifices were brought to the sanctuary, placed on the hands of the Kohanim way before the altar, and finally burnt, to symbolize the right of the Kohanim to offer sacrifices. These rites repeated daily for 7 days. Among other obligations, the Kohanim were charged with the duty of bringing a daily burnt offering of a yearly lamb, both in the morning and in the evening, called a Korban Tamid, on behalf of the entire Jewish community. Okay, and that's our summary. So, this Parsha deals almost exclusively with the Kohanim, their selection, their vestments, and their inauguration service. And by this, all the children will be consecrated to serve for God at all times. We begin with Tetzaveh, with the oil. Now you shall command the children of Israel that they shall take for you pure pressed olive oil for illumination, to kindle the lamp continually. So, now that we've completed in Parshas Truma the laws of the construction of the tabernacle, the Torah now turns to those who will perform the service within it. The first thing we learn is that the oil for the menorah must be absolutely pure, without any admixture of a foreign substance or even olive sediment. Now this is very appropriate, of course, because the selection of Aaron and his sons for Kohanim also must remain pure, separate from the rest of the nation. They cannot have any unauthorized people to take part in the service. Only Kohanim can be involved in this. And you must take for you, which means the oil for the menorah, which is done in the wilderness. So because there were no olive trees in the wilderness, consequently, they had to use oil that had been prepared in Egypt. So the oil is brought to Moshe, who inspects it to make sure it has its proper level of purity. And Zach Kati, pure and pressed. And as the oil must be pressed, you fetch the olive, but not crushed. If it's crushed, it'll have impurities in it, and it will not be legitimate for the lighting. Can't have olive particles or sediment. Any Israeli kid goes to see when many teal, especially Hanukkah time, how olive oil is made. I've seen this so many times, and I forget as many times as I've seen it. But one thing is for sure: is they take all the olives, they stuff them inside the grinder, and they grind and grind and grind, and they're grinding up the olive, the stone, the pit, and out of this they manage to get olive oil. This is not pure oil. Kasis lamaor, the purest is just that one kvetch, the first drop that comes out. And as you press each olive gently, and the first drop, according to Rashi, which emerges, that is what's kosher for lighting. Now, what does that mean? You have to light the menorah constantly, continually? It only has to remain from morning till evening. Scratch from evening till morning. The menorah only has to be lit from evening to morning. So why does it always say continually? So it means that every single day it has to be lit, without any exception, even on Shabbos. That's continually. Not that it burns 24 hours a day, but it burns 7 days a week. Okay, so now we're about to jump into the Big Day Kahuna. So let's give a little bit of introduction here. Certain components all the Big Day Kahuna must have. First of all, we know that a Kohen is not kosher to do his avoda unless he's wearing Big Day Kahuna. There is a polemic regarding clothing. Is clothing only utilitarian, or is it also ideological? Is there some ideological purpose to the clothing?